Hey guys, we're going on back again with another zombies video. As you can see, this is going to be about Black Ops 2 and Die Rise, and I guess it's unsolved Easter eggs. Maybe one of the ones that Jason Blundell and some of the devs have mentioned over the years. That if you go back and look at some of the older maps, there might be some Easter eggs that were unsolved, stuff that maybe we looked at, 50 times a day and just never made the connection. And as you guys know, on Die Rise, when you take the elevator before it slams down to the bottom, you pass by the PhD perk machine. I believe it's on floor 72. And just really quickly to touch on something, I've seen some people years ago talk about floor 72 having some type of deeper meaning. I myself have not figured or pieced anything together, because usually when Treyarch does Easter eggs, it's small Easter eggs that probably all piece together and give you a bigger um, Easter egg, I guess, or kind of like a bigger payoff. Again, when you go, if you, most people probably know this, so this is just kind of a recap. The perk machine was kind of like teased to us in a couple of maps. First with Die Rise, and then in Mob of the Dead. I guess it was too OP, so they took it out of some of the maps. But also when you can actually use it in grief mode in Mob of the Dead, but really quickly, this is probably just an Easter egg. Just to me, I don't know if it's just something to tease us again, or it's gonna have a deeper meaning. But moving forward, here is the logo for PhD Flopper. Most people know what it looks like. In the middle is the radioactive symbol, I guess, and funny enough, looks like a gobble gum. But just keep this in mind because this is kind of the Easter egg solve here. But when you go to the loading screen or the loading cutscene for Die Rise, you're gonna notice something very similar, and I'm just gonna point out another Easter egg that I solved years ago, just in case if people have not ever figured that out. I did mention it to Vandahar and some of the Treyarch devs years ago, prior to Black Ops 4, I believe. I think right after Black Ops 3, when I was a little bit more involved in the story and Easter eggs and solving Easter eggs. But if you've never noticed before, in the Black Ops 2 menu, or whatever you want to call this, there's Samantha's faces there. It's her forehead, her eyes, her nose, her two lips, her chin, and her neck. And people have hinted at that, or maybe said stuff like that, or maybe one of the devs hinted at it years ago, that when you load into a map, that's why it zooms in, because you're like going into Samantha's imagination. She's always the one telling the story. So a lot of these maps, we zoom into like her head and her story that she tells. And it does kind of loosely base off of stuff from real life, the real life Samantha Maxis, not the voice actor, but who the character is based off of, as far as like imaginations and writing different like stories and books and stuff like that. So again, this is her head, her eyes, because this was also one of those Easter eggs that I even told Vandahar, I'm like, there's literally hundreds of millions of people probably that have played Black Ops 2 and Zombies over the years. How has no one ever have noticed that or seen that? So it makes it a little bit more special for me when I see stuff like this. And this is just kind of a line of the same Easter egg that I'm about to show you. So if you kind of load into Die Rise in Black Ops 2, I don't know if it's just trying to explain maybe a backstory, kind of like Zetsubo no Shima, or maybe even Mob of the Dead, how Zetsubo no Shima is supposedly where Widow's Wine got created, from the giant spider, and then in Mob of the Dead, Electric Cherry, because of all the electricity and afterlife mode and stuff, like maybe it was created there. But what people missed, and I just kind of noticed it, and I swear to you, kind of like what Blundell said, you must see stuff hundreds of times, but sometimes you just have to like stop and look at stuff. This is actually in the shape of the PhD logo, so you see like it looks exactly with the dark on the bottom, the dark over here, and then the dark over here. I don't know if it's trying to say to us like maybe PhD Flopper was invented in You know, Black Ops 2 timeline. I know it existed in Black Ops 1. Or again, it might have just been like a little tease or a troll by Treyarch to put it in front of us again, subliminal messaging like, "Hey, this is the PhD logo." Um, but it just blows my mind how stuff like this, people like literally hundreds of millions of people have played this map and seen this loaded screen. And you go on YouTube, there's probably millions of views on some of uh, the loading screens, and then it's just kind of like has always been there. And then if you kind of watch the video while it plays, it's gonna show you that they're almost mimicking PhD, how like PhD flops and then it makes a big boom. Even if you watch, it ends up glitching out at one point. I actually glitched out a few times. But when they actually land, it kind of makes that booming effect. And again, with the elevator, it slams down to the first floor. Again, so I guess these were all just little hints that maybe PhD. I don't know if the loading screen got leaked first before the game did, but you see how they flop and like boom. I'm not. Is that maybe because they went there too many times? How Die Rise got destroyed? Is that maybe what they're hinting at? That like this is just that's a theory, but it actually can be like a plausible theory that nobody ever realized that it looks like their PhD flopping when they land, or maybe they. I know they've done it a couple times, so maybe that's what destroyed China. Are they trying to say that they did the circle too many times that like it destroyed China? So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.